I want to share with you a new topic today that is Christoffel theory. Myself, Dr. Dignavari. We know the valence bond theory could not explain the stability, magnetism, and color and spectra of the coordination complexes, and it is failed to explain so many other factors of complexes. The theory also failed to explain whether the ligand is a strong field ligand, or a weak field ligand. So, therefore, the scientists proposed a new theory that is known as Christoffel theory. In 1929, Hans Bethe proposed the Christoffel theory, and it was a model which is based purely electrostatic interaction between the ligands and the metal ion. The theory originally proposed by Hans Bethe, but later in 1935, a new scientist that is John Hasbrouck van Vleck allows some covalency in the interaction. So this theory is developed by these two scientists, Hans Bethe and John Hasbrouck van Vleck. This theory was originally applied mainly to ionic crystals. So this theory is known as Christoffel theory. Now we are moving to the important features of Christoffel theory. Christoffel theory regards a complex as a combination of a central ion and surrounded by other ions or molecules with electrical dipoles. That is, we call it as a ligand. So here there is a Christoffel theory indicates a complex as a combination of metal ion and the ligands. Here you can see the a central metal ion which attracts electrons from ligands. Okay, so crystal field theory regards a complex as a combination of a central ion surrounded by other ions or molecules with electrical dipoles, that we call it as a ligand. Crystal field theory considers the ligands as point charges or as point dipoles. The ligand atoms may be ionic ligands or neutral molecules. The Christoffel theory regards the ligand atoms of ionic ligands such as fluoride, chloride, or cyanide as negative point charges or simply point charges. This means that the metal atom attached to the negative part of the ions, that is, it considered as a point charges or negative point charges. Next one is if the ligands are neutral molecules. These are regarded as a point dipoles or dipoles. Example for point dipoles are ammonia ligands and water ligands. They are dipolar molecules. You can see here the nitrogen atom contains one lone pair of electrons. So it gets a partial negative charge, and the hydrogen atoms get partial positive charge. The metal atom attached to those part, that is the negative dipoles attached to the metal atom. So these types of ligands that are neutral molecules that are considered as point dipoles or dipoles. In this ammonia, the nitrogen atom get partial negative charge and hydrogen atom get partial positive charge. Such ligands are known as dipolar. In the case of water molecules, here two lone pairs of electrons and the oxygen atom get a partial negative charge because of the two lone pair electrons, and the hydrogen atom get partial positive charge. This oxygen atom, that is the negative part dipole, attached to the metal atom when it forms complex with metal ions. So another important feature of Christoffel theory, in this theory the ligands considered as point charges or as point dipoles. It explains the bonding between the metal ion and the ligands in complexes arises from the electrostatic attraction between the nucleus of the metal cation and the partial negative charge invariably present on the ligands. So there is a bond formed between the metal and the surrounding ligands are thus purely ionic. In crystal field theory, there is another interaction existing between the metal and the ligands that is the interaction between the electrons of the ligands and the electrons of the metal atom that is entirely repulsive. Okay, that means metal atom contains electrons and the ligands also donates electrons to the metal atom. Both the electrons have the same charge that is negative charge. So negative charges will repel each other. So there is repulsive interaction existing between the metal ion and the ligands. These repulsive forces are responsible for causing the splitting of the d orbitals of the metal cation. Here you can see the octahedral splitting that is T2G Eg level. Okay, these repulsive forces are responsible for causing the splitting of d orbitals of the metal cation. Thus, the theory is developed by considering energy changes of the 5 degenerate d orbitals upon being surrounded by an array of point charges consisting of the ligands. So, this repulsive interaction between the electrons of the ligand and the metal will cause the splitting of d orbitals. The pattern of splitting of d orbitals depends on the nature of the crystal field. It is the octahedral field and this is the tetrahedral field. Crystal theory explains there is a strong ionic interaction between the metal ion and the ligand. And there is also one more interaction, that is the repulsive interaction occurs between the metal and the ligands. We know the 5d orbitals in an isolated gaseous metal atom have the same energy. That means when the transition metals do not bond to any other ligands, their d orbitals are degenerate. But the ligands approaches to the metal ions, the electrons from the ligands will be more closer to the d orbitals of the metal ion and some of the d orbitals of the metal ion will more closer towards the ligands. So the electrons in the d orbitals of the metal ion and the electrons from the ligands will repel each other due to the repulsion between the like charges. Thus, d electrons closer to the ligands will have a higher energy than those of which farther away from the metal ion. This causes the d orbital splitting in different energy. So, between the metal ion and the ligands, there is a repulsive interaction. Okay, this actually causes the splitting of the 5 degenerate d orbitals into different sets. The pattern of the d orbitals depends upon the nature of the crystal field. If it is octahedral field, it will be split into T2G2 Eg. If it is a tetrahedral field, it will split into E to T2 level. And approaches to the metal ion that causing a loss of degeneracy. The d electrons closer to the ligands will have a higher energy than those far away, which results in the d orbital splitting in energy. This splitting is affected by the following factors, that means the metal factors and the ligand factors. Metal factors means its nature, its coordination number, and its oxidation state. And the ligand factors means its nature, its whether it is a strong ligand or a weak ligand, and it's how they are arranged around the central metal ion. So these are the main factors that affect the crystal field splitting. Theory does not consider a covalent bonding in complexes. Therefore, it does not provide for electrons to enter the metal orbitals. Thus, the metal ion and the ligands do not mix their orbitals or share electrons. That is, it does not consider any orbital overlap. So, what is the bonding in Christoffel theory? Christoffel theory gives a bonding that is purely an electrostatic or Coulombic interaction between the positively charged ion and the negatively charged species. So, it is purely an electrostatic interaction between the metal ion and the ligand that explains in detail by Christoffel theory. To sum up the Christoffel theory gives a representation of bonding that is purely an electrostatic or Coulombic interaction between the cation and the anionic species. That means an electrostatic interaction exists between the metal ion and the ligands in complexes. Christoffel theory describes the breaking of degeneracies of electronic orbital states, usually d or f orbitals, due to static electric field produced by a surrounding charge distribution, that is, anion neighbors or ligands. This theory has been used to describe the various spectroscopic of transition metal coordination complexes, in particular the optical spectra that cause colors, magnetic properties, hydration enthalpies, and spinel structures of transition metal complexes. Valence bond theory. Christoffel theory has also some limitations. First one is it considers ligand as point charge or point dipole only. It does not take into account of the overlap of the ligand and metal orbitals. That means Christoffel theory does not give any information about the covalent bonding. It fails to explain why carbon monoxide is a stronger ligand than Cn- in complexes having the metal in low oxidation states. Consider an octahedral complexes of nickel. You can see here a hexa aqua nickel complex. In this complex, nickel is in the +2 oxidation state. So it is a D8 electron configuration and the arrangement is T2G2Eg. This is found to be paramagnetic. In the Eg level, there is 2 unpaired electrons and the mu effective value can be calculated by crystal field theory. But in the case of there is a nucleophilic reaction between the OH minus in the case of H2O molecules, 2 unpaired electrons in nickel 2 plus and 2 unpaired electrons in nickel 2 plus B case. Here in the biological system, a metal center is a binuclear one, as in the case of urease, a responsible. This is a binuclear case, okay, and is responsible for the catalytic hydrolysis of urea. That is urease, which is responsible for the catalytic hydrolysis of urea. In the case of this type of systems, here 2 metal ion is in a bond distance of 3 angstrom, which is used to connect the urea molecule. And in the case of 2 unpaired electrons in nickel 2 plus in A and there is 2 unpaired electrons in nickel 2 plus in B and the mu effective value of each can be calculated by Christoffel theory. That in the case of hexa aqua nickel 2 ion. Okay. But the actual case is not true. In this case, it is paramagnetic, but in this molecule, it is not paramagnetic, but it is ferromagnetic. In the interaction, due to the interaction by adding the magnetic moment of one nickel center to the other. Okay, but there is some interaction with the ligand orbitals to the metal orbitals also, but this neglects in the case of Christoffel theory. If the super exchange is taking place with the ligands to the corresponding magnetic area, whether it is ferromagnetic or antiferromagnetic interaction, there should be overlap between the metal and ligand orbitals. If the complex only there is interaction like electrostatic interaction exists in the case of nickel 2 plus complex, it should be a paramagnetic that can be explained by or calculated by Christoffel theory. But the actual case is not like this. Here a ferromagnetic or antiferromagnetic interaction occurs. There is a magnetic exchange or super exchange is taking place with the ligands to the corresponding magnetic area of the metal ion. So there should be an overlap between the metal and the ligand orbitals that cannot explained or by the Christoffel theory. What is actually this exchange? When two nearby atoms have unpaired electrons, whether the electron spins are parallel or antiparallel effects, whether the electrons can share the same orbit as a result of the quantum mechanical effect called the exchange interaction. This is in turn affects the electron location and the Coulomb interaction and thus the energy difference between these states. The exchange interaction is related to the Pauli exclusion principle, which says that two electrons with the same spin cannot also be in the same spatial state or orbital. Therefore, under certain conditions, when the orbitals of the unpaired outer valence electrons from adjacent atoms overlap, the distributions of their electric charge in space are farther apart when the electrons have parallel spins than when they have opposite spins. This reduces the electrostatic energy of the electrons when their spins are parallel compared to their energy when the spins are antiparallel. So the parallel spin state is more stable. In simple terms, the electrons which repel one another can move further apart by aligning their spins, so the spins of these electrons tend to line up. This difference in energy is called the exchange energy. Theory fails to explain why carbon monoxide is a stronger ligand than Cn- in complexes having a metal in low oxidation state. Low oxidation state carbonyl ligands always stabilize the low oxidation state, even minus or zero oxidation state of metal. There is some overlap definitely exists between the CO molecular orbitals with the metal d orbitals. That actually Christoffel theory fails to explain. The heart of the Christoffel theory is the splitting of d orbitals and its consequences. But Christoffel theory does not take any account for the possible covalent bonding in complexes. But the physical measurements of complexes such as ESR or EPR, that is electron spin resonance, NMR, nuclear magnetic resonance, NQR, that is nuclear quadrupole resonance, suggests that there is some measure of covalent bonding also exists in complexes. So there is a modified version of Christoffel theory comes that is often called ligand field theory. Cotton and Wilkinson have called ligand field theory as adjusted crystal field theory (ACFT). Ligand field theory is also presented as molecular orbital theory. It is the most important theory for any molecules or complexes, that is molecular orbital theory, that covers the entire molecule. Crystal field theory explains about only the d orbitals. Okay, but in the case of molecular orbital theory, that explains the bonding in the entire molecule. Important features of ligand field theory. It represents an application of molecular orbital theory to transition metal complexes. A transition metal ion has a 9 valence atomic orbitals that we know, consisting of 5 nt orbitals, 3 n plus 1 p orbitals, and 1 n plus 1 s orbitals. These orbitals are of appropriate energy to form bonding interaction with the ligands. Field theory results from combining the principles laid out by the molecular orbital theory and crystal field theory, which describes the laws of degeneracy of the metal d orbitals in transition metal complexes when the ligand approaches the metal ion. Ligand field theory describes the bonding, orbital arrangement, and other characteristics of coordination complexes. Ligand field theory uses a molecular orbital approach for bonding. That means ligand can be viewed as having a hybrid orbital or a p orbital pointing toward the metal to make a sigma bond. The valence orbitals on the metal and the ligand are used to form SALC. That is, SALC means symmetry, adapted, linear combination. Symmetry means octahedral, tetrahedral, square planar, or trigonal, bipyramidal likewise. So the valence orbitals on the metal and the ligand are used to form SALC, that is symmetry, adapted, linear combination of orbital. The ligand field theory analysis is highly dependent on the geometry of the complex, but most explanations begin by describing the octahedral complexes, where 6 ligands coordinate to the metal. Other complexes can be described by reference to the crystal field theory. In the ligand field theory, the various d orbitals are affected differently when they surrounded by a field of neighboring ligands and are raised or lowered in energy based on the strength of their interaction with the ligands. Ligand field theory includes covalent and ionic aspects of coordination. It is a more powerful description of transition metal complexes. By this, I conclude here. Thank you.